Alright guys, I have another Bible review today. Today I'm going to be going over the ESV Heirloom single column personal size Bible. And this is in the blue goatskin. This is the blue goatskin edition. However, the interesting thing about this Bible is actually really interesting and cool, I think, is that, I don't know if you can tell right now, but if you just look at this Bible quickly, it just looks like it's a regular black goatskin. It's only when the light hits it at in a certain way that you can actually tell that it is blue, which I think really is just a cool characteristic about it. As you can see in this edition, they're scaling down kind of their brand, and so now the ESV logo doesn't have the circle around it. It's a little bit bigger. They also took off some of the earlier editions, just have ESV written on the spine here too. We just got these 4 hubs, and now I believe from what I've seen in other videos and looked at a little bit, the details is that these Heirloom Bibles used to be printed somewhere in, I couldn't tell you, somewhere in Europe. However, now they're being printed in China, so this is a new kind of printing and binding. And so with this, you can actually tell that there are a few little manufacturing quirks that just make it look distinct, I think, from some of their other Bibles. For example, the hubs here just have a different look to them. They just look different. They're a little bit shorter, and I don't mean this in a bad way when I'm just talking about these little defects. The leather itself is also just a different texture. I'm not going to say it's worse than some of the other textures that I've felt, but different for sure. It's also a lot thinner. In fact, I have, when comparing to like the ESV Legacy, this leather is actually really, limp and floppy and thin, which I actually prefer that about this leather. However, the tactility of it, how it feels, it does feel a little bit more dry. There's not quite as much sponginess to it, but that I think just makes it different than others. I don't think it's necessarily worse. It also has 2 blue ribbons here. And another unique thing is that the head and tail bands are also this dark blue. I don't know if you can tell with the camera. And then instead of it being red or salmon under gold, this is actually kind of a bluish gray under gold. And I was worried that it was going to be under silver, because for some reason, I'm not a fan of the silver edge lining in Bibles. And this was gold, thankfully. It also has the perimeter, as you can see, has the gold around the trim there. Yeah, so this definitely does feel like a different kind of crossway Bible, just because it has been, made in China. I don't entirely think that's a bad thing. However, I will mention that, my edition did have a little bit of like stray pieces of glue that were kind of up around near the binding. You can even see there's a little bit of a white line there of that glue. Not a big deal for me. I really could care less about that. In some other reviews of this Bible I've seen, people really have not enjoyed that fact about this Bible, that they've had to peel off some glue and some glue that stuck the pages together. I could care less. So for me, that's not a big deal. And if you think that wouldn't bother you, then maybe this is a good Bible to try out. However, I will say the price on this Bible is really, I do not think, worth the quality. As far as, I think the retail is $220. I got this Bible for a steal. I got it for I think it was $114 on Westminster Books. And that was, I think, a steal. And I think that was a great purchase for the quality of this. It's really not the same quality that you would expect from a $200 Bible. Regardless, I think it is a great high-quality Bible. I'm just glad I didn't pay that much for it. So now going to the inside of it, it is single column. And if you actually have, owned crossway Bibles in the past, the single column personal size is an update to the Bible that originally was called the ESV Heritage. I used to work at a Christian bookstore. That's how I know this. So they not only renamed it a few years back, but this Bible also actually has just a slightly larger font size, which is interesting, because I was thinking this was the same exact text block, right? So if you get the True Tone single column personal size, the pages are actually not even going to match up compared to this Goatskin version. You can look at the PDFs online, and even look at, you know, the page layout from Genesis 1, and it's different. It's slightly off, and it is because the text size in this Bible just visually is a bit larger. If you were to compare this with the other True Tone that I'm talking about, for example, like this page 1 in Genesis, right? The cutoff word here is darkness, whereas in the other one, it's not the word darkness, it's another one, which means that the text has been scaled up just ever so slightly on this edition. So as far as laying flat, so far the Bible really doesn't quite lay flat. It definitely will in the future once it gets more use in. The hinge is, you know, it's really not even stiff compared to, if you looked at my other video for the large print compact ESV Bible, that hinge is much stiffer than this one. So I'm not worried about breaking this hinge in. Another thing I've seen with some other videos is that some people really are having a hard time just with the amount of ghosting in this paper. And I will say this paper really is not, you know, for example, what you'd see in the ESV Legacy, which is just another reason why I don't think it's worth the $220 retail price. However, it's not a big deal for me. And maybe it's just me. But I really have no issue using this Bible, even with whatever ghosting there is. It doesn't bother me. I can't really tell. I'm not like thinking about it while I'm reading. In fact, I think this is a really immersive reading Bible. In fact, even more so than the Legacy, in my opinion, because I like to be able to hold it like in one hand and just read it, and it has such big, you know, sized font compared to even like the large print compact, and it's portable in one hand. You can carry it. So yeah, it's really great. You know, it just doesn't bother me. But who knows, it might bother some people. And you know, the pages really are thin. They're, to be honest, like if you look at the specs on this Bible, you can see that Crossway even didn't include the number GSM because it's really not that great. They call it high quality Bible paper. I would have to disagree. I really don't think this is high quality at all. However, it doesn't bother me. You know, for the price that I got this Bible, at least that's all I can say. It doesn't bother me, and I really enjoy it. The paper doesn't really bother me. The ghosting doesn't bother me. Yeah, I enjoy all the positives of this Bible, and I don't really mind too much any of the cons or negatives of this Bible. In fact, I can tell I'm really going to enjoy using this for, you know, years to come. It's going to be kind of my reading Bible that I don't really want to mark in it, because I'd like to have one Bible that I, you know, just am able to come to fresh as the Spirit gives illumination. Yeah, so that is my review on this Bible. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below and I'll try to answer them. All right, thanks.